In this video, we're going to go over how to do a hypothesis test for paired samples for the difference in two populations in Rguroo. So I'm going to scroll to an example that we already completed using the calculator, but now we're going to complete the same one using Rguroo. So example 1, tune-up. It says, it gives some data, and then it says, a mechanic wants to know if a tune-up will improve gas mileage. The mileage in miles per gallon was found for each of 8 automobiles. The mileage for each vehicle was found a second time. After a tune-up was given, the table above shows the mileage for each car before and after the tune-up. Can you conclude that tune-ups improve mileage? Use a 0.01 significance. So in Rguroo, you have to put in the data. Now, in the calculator, you have to put in the data as well. But in Rguroo, to do this, you would go to data, data import, and hit create new data set. And then one variable pops up, and you would type in the first label, which is after tune-up. And you would click this button here to get 8 entries. And then you would click this button to do a second variable, and you would label this variable before tune-up, because that was the second thing given. And then once you put in all of the data, you would need to save it as something. So what I did is I saved it as gas mileage here. And so once you do that, it pops up over in your data sets. All right, so you can see I have after tune-up, before tune-up copied straight from here. And for the null, if you will recall, if you look here in purple, we write the null on the alternate statements this way: mu d equals 0 for the null, and mu d, in this case, we're trying to see if it improves gas mileage, so the gas mileage is better after. So when you subtract after minus before, that should be a positive number if it's greater. So we're doing greater than 0. So let's quickly check out how to do this in Rguroo. So you're going to go to Analytics, click on Analysis and Mean Inference, and then 1, 2 populations, and then select your data set, which I named this one gas mileage. So that's just the most important thing, is making sure you put the data in first. And then choose variable 1, which will be after tune-up, and variable 2 will be before tune-up. And then if you'll notice at the bottom, all of that is populated in here. Population 1 is after tune-up. You can see sample mean, sample standard deviation, sample size, same thing with population 2 before tune-up. But this data is paired, because this is after and before for individual cars. So when we go back and we look at the data for car number 1, it has 2 sets of data. For car number 2, it has 2 sets of data. So data is paired. So you want to click paired here. And you'll notice instead of having two populations, it now, instead of saying population 1 and population 2, it now says paired difference. So when we find the difference of those means, you get a sample mean difference of 1.2-ish and a sample standard deviation of 0.373, with 8 still being our sample size. So we're going to skip over to population 1/2, and we're going to click on test hypothesis. The hypothesis test significance level was 0.01. And we're trying to see if it has improved, so that it is greater than 0. For these, it's always going to be 0, and it's always going to be a t statistic. And you'll notice on the right we have paired data checked, and that's about it. Let's hit the preview button and look down at the p-value. It's very small. It's 1.9 blah 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 e negative 5, which means you move the decimal 5 places to the left and basically get honestly 0 when you round. You can't even see the shading here. It's such a small probability. So it's the same thing we got here, 1.925 e negative 5. Move that decimal over 5 places to the left. It rounds to 0. 0 is less than 0.01. Because it's less, we reject the null, and that means we can conclude H1 is true. So there is enough evidence to conclude that tune-ups improve gas mileage. So again, when you have paired data, like we do here, you enter it as a data set in Rguroo by hitting Data Import, Create New Data Set. You'll have to name the variable names and add rows and columns, and then make sure you save it. Once you do that, we go to Analysis, Mean Inference, 1 and 2 populations. Choose your data set. Click your variable 1 and variable 2. And then make sure you choose paired. Go to population 1-2 hypothesis test. Change your significance level, and then your alternate statement, and then choose T statistic and preview, and that's basically it. Find your p-value, and then the rest is basically the same as what it has been since the beginning. All right, so there we have it. This is how you use Rguroo to perform hypothesis testing on paired data.